Welcome to Papa Junk Shop. Well, I'm gonna start on this lathe. It's probably gonna be a long project. I want to get it out of the middle of the floor, get the legs back on the bed and get that part of it cleaned up and together, and the rest of it we'll worry about later. But I've discovered a few things. One thing I discovered is when I did the video is that we had a tooth missing on a gear. I'm sure some of you noticed that right here. So this will be a fun project. I never tried replacing a tooth on a gear, or I don't know, making a gear. Possibility maybe. And I see we've got part of a broken off oiler in here, and it's a 12-inch lathe, so I didn't gain anything because that's what my Atlas is. And actually this hole is smaller here than my existing lathe, so I really went backwards there. And even this is quite small, so I don't have any chucks that are going to fit it, so I'll have to come up with something there, face plates and chucks. And well, chuck wise, my son went to a yard sale and he got this chuck for $2. He said, I couldn't believe the guy said $2. It's not an expensive chuck, and it's really strange. The backing plate is a casting with a hole in it with a set screw. So I'm thinking I might be able to adapt that to work on there. So, and I have this big chunk of aluminum, and I think I'm going to make risers for it. Now that's a 3-inch piece, and the tailstock and the headstock set on these V's, and the carriage ride's on the outside V's. And I think a lot of the other ones only use one V on one side and the flat on the other, but that's how this one works. So this piece of aluminum, this chunk right here, from there back happens to be the same length as that, so I'm thinking this might make a good shaper project. So that's what I'm going to attempt, to make that riser block the full length of that on the shaper. My shaper, this is 13 3/4, and my shaper is a 14-inch shaper. So we'll see. What else did I discover? Oh, I plugged the cord into the outlet for the motor, but I haven't flipped the switch yet, so I thought maybe you guys would like to see that. Maybe we'll have fireworks, or maybe it'll run, who knows. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Just like downtown. Let's see, looking at the end, that was clockwise, and that's counterclockwise. Alright, well, that's a good thing. So another discovery I made was I was going to take this tool post off of here so I get it out of the way, because it makes it kind of clumsy, and it doesn't come off without taking this off, I guess, and getting at it from underneath, because this is like built right in there somehow, and the rocker cradle is built right in this top piece, and that's the rocker. So that's really quite different from anything I've run into before. Now I tried doing some research on it, and when they listed this at the auction. Of course, there was no information and they didn't have any previews. They called it a Garvin lathe. Of course, I tried to research it before I bid on it, and the reason that was is because that thing, that guard that was on here covered up part of that A, and it looked like Garvin machine instead of Garvin machine. So I tried looking up Garvin, and there isn't very much information there either. More on mills than there is lathes. But I found an advertising picture of, and it wasn't very good, that looked about like this lathe, and I think it was 1897. I wouldn't doubt it. So this is just in the thinking stages, this deal here. So I'm going to get this bed cleaned up and the legs back on it, and we'll go from there. I got other projects going too, so this is going to be kind of an in-between thing. So see you in a bit. Okay, got her cleaned up and brushed a coat of Sherwin-Williams Industrial light gray on her. And let's see, what else did I do? Oh, I took the duct tape off of this pulley, and I thought that this was just a, you know, light rust on there. That's a wooden pulley. I didn't realize that. So I'm learning as I go, finding all the little quirks with it. Now, making the tool for the shaper, or grinding a tool for the shaper that'll fit those V's on the lathe to make that riser block. I got about an hour invested in getting these two sides done. Now I'm going to get the top. I'm going to put a little angle on that. So I thought maybe you might like to see it. About halfway. You guys don't want to watch all that, but I'm a little, about 2/3 of the way there. I'll show you the results when I'm done. Okay, here's what I wound up with. And I'm just going to take a stone and deburr all the edges. There. Hopefully that baby is going to cut aluminum okay. I have no idea. I'm just guessing at this. I looked in a couple of my books, and the information for sharpening cutters is really complicated. So I come up with this from what research I did. Whether it's going to be right or not, I don't know. We'll know in a little bit. Hey, I'm running a test cut for that cutter. I wasn't fussy about getting it in there, so it's not really straight or anything. I just wanted to see how it was going to cut the aluminum and make sure the shape was okay. I guess I can't talk and turn the handle at the same time. Looks like it's going to cut okay. I'm going to run that down to about the right depth and then try it over on the lathe bed. Now there's what she looks like in the end. And I got the tailstock sitting here upside down. I didn't go as deep as I should, but looks pretty good there. And oops. Guess after you kick the camera, you gotta re-aim it, huh? I think she's gonna work okay. It's running up and down a little bit. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it looks like we're making contact alright. So I think we're going to go with that. Now I got to prep the piece, get that set up, and see if we can make the one for the headstock end. Okay, I made a nice coarse blade for the bandsaw, 1/2 inch, 8 teeth I think it is. And I've already cut this off. That took about 10 minutes to do that. And part of the reason was my belt was slipping. I finally had to go get some belt lube and squirt on it. This is 3 inches thick, so I'm guessing I've got, what, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, or half an hour if everything goes right. So, wish me luck. Okay, let's see how long it takes. Almost 2:30. There you can see how far I got in, what, a little over 10 minutes. I'm going to take a break because my fingers are getting cramps in from pushing for such a long time, so I'm not going to go through her all at once. It's going to give me a rest. Okay, got her cut out and stuck her in the Bridgeport and run the fly cutter over it so we're nice and parallel, smooth. So I'm going to do my layout on this table, and I'll probably put that side down because this was the factory side. So I'll do all my layout using my height gauge, and I'll put some dye on there, get everything laid out. That's going to take some figuring because I've got to do some measuring on the lathe, try to figure out what the best way is to get it as accurate as possible. So I'm going to work on that, but it isn't going to be today. Hey, I got laid out where we got to cut the grooves. I drilled a couple of 5/8 holes, well actually just a whisker over 5/8 to hold it down with. And got a dial indicator on there. Make sure it's nice and square. So I think we're all set up that way. This will stay right where it is, and I'll use this to get my depth. And I've got a mark on the tool right there. That's how deep I gotta go. I'm not sure that mark's gonna stay in place or not, but I'm gonna get this set up in there. And I'm gonna run it down past the end, get everything lined up, set this for 0. So that when I move over to the next one, I can repeat it so they're both the same depth. The only other thing I want to do is check and make sure we're level this way or square. So I got to do that yet, and then we can get started. Try her the other way. Nope, that nut's going to run into it. Okay, so why are we not going back to where we were? Let's do this. Okay, so looks like I'm gonna have to shim just a little bit underneath here, so I'll be a while getting that all taken care of. I filled up all the oilers and turned the grease cups, and I think we're all set up and ready to go. So we'll see what happens. One thing I do want to do is, I don't remember if I tightened these the final crank or not. No, we didn't. I want to make sure they're tight. I guess I've got a ways to go. Thought I had them pretty snug before. Alright. That first one's always the scary one. In case something's wrong. Okay, the deeper I go, the smaller the cut I'm going to make, and I'm going to let it take 2 strokes before I turn it back or turn it down anymore. Just want to make sure we don't have any hiccups. I'm getting a little chatter in there. And see if I can figure out what's going on. We're getting a little chatter there. Now I got the one done. I couldn't eliminate the chatter. I put a jack underneath the whatever that box is called, and it might have helped a little bit. I mean, you can see them, but it feels really smooth, but you can see the marks in there, so I'm going to have to be happy with it. I'm going to move over and get this other side now. Okay, I'm working on the other side. This is the side that the headstock will set on, so it's going to go in an angle like that. I've got it laid out. I cut some relief cuts in here because the casting is going to drop down over both sides a little bit. So I've got some layout marks in there, and I'm going to go in from this side, and then I'll move over and go in from this side till I come to my layout marks. And this one will be nice because I can actually trial fit it as we go along. So I'll show you a couple of cuts. Oop. After I kick the camera, huh? Getting a lot nicer finished because we don't get that chatter because we're not crowding on all the sides. So looks like I'll be about 20 minutes getting this part of it done. I'll show you the results when I get her done. Okay, I just went into my layout marks there. What's nice about this is I can actually try the tailstock casting on there because the tailstock and the headstock go on the same thing, so she turned out good. So get her off of there and take her over and set her on the lathe and see how she fits. Okay, let's give her a test fit here. Okay, that's nice. Alright, looks like we're setting up on them all the way across, and got clearance there, and I'm not sure about back here. Yeah, if I slide it back a little. Yep, we're good. Wasn't sure if I had a big enough motor around there for the casting. Has a piece that goes this way across. So now I got to locate where the holes are for the bolts that go up through. And we're looking okay. Well, I thought I ran into a problem when I got looking at this a little more. This casting was hanging over, and it's even here. And I thought, well, that's not, sure don't want it cocked on there. That's why I was so careful about getting everything lined up with a dial indicator and everything. And I double checked my work, and it was all nice and straight and parallel and all that good stuff. So I flipped this casting over and I'll have to move you guys so you can see what I'm talking about, I think. Hopefully it stays there. But when I check this, like from here to there, yeah, let me start here. When I start here, and I go to that edge of where the V is, and I go down here to this end, it's shy. The same amount that I am here. So apparently this casting is not square, or else when they put these grooves in there, they're not square. But hopefully this spindle is square with everything. If not, it's going to be a nightmare. But it made me feel better when I found that casting was a little bit off. Maybe it's thinner here than here. I'll have to do some more research and see. But I was a little disappointed because I thought I had that all set so it would be nice and even along there. But I think she's square and parallel. It's just the casting isn't straight. Well, I got a pretty good mess to clean up here from this riser block project. As you can see, the chips are pretty deep and they flew everywhere. At least I was smart enough to keep my drawers closed this time. And same thing over here by the shaper. You got pretty nice, well, I don't know, maybe I can put that on the Christmas tree, huh? So, I think we're going to call this a video for now. I'm going to try to rearrange some stuff in here and get this cleaned up. Because as it is now, my whole work area is a cluttered up mess, so we got to get organized. So if you enjoyed it so far, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.